Since Mr. Rudd, right, the first movie and now this movie, do you all feel that he gave you guys as many good lines as he gave himself?
No, he gave himself more funny lines. Let's be honest.
His best lines in the movie are not in the script.
Would that be on the DVD then, Mr. Reed?
Possibly, yeah. No, I mean, I've said this before, I think, Paul, don't watch. Paul's as generous a writer as he is an actor. Like he's, that's a concern if someone's writing. Paul can easily say, I'm getting all the lines, you're not gonna say this or do this, but, Paul always has the whole picture in mind. Writing and acting. Is that correct, Paul? Because that's
well, no, I try and think of the film as a whole. It's nice to, and I think of every character. But I will say this: this has been a collaborative effort, more than anything I've ever worked on. The thing that I actually wrote it would be, I think, a gross overstatement. The truth of the matter is, Kate was in the room and has been working on this for a long time. Same with our producer, Stephen Broussard. Same with Kevin. But in particular, two writers, Eric Sung and Chris McKenna, who did really, a lot of the heavy lifting. Those guys are great. I would tip my cap to them.
For you, Mr. Reed, what in this movie was kind of the most daunting sequence, and you were happy to have finished when you filmed it?
the most daunting sequence. There were a lot of daunting sequences. We really wanted to set out and go nuts with the technology in this movie. And it occurred to us at some point, well, maybe it's not just Antman and Wasp who can shrink and maybe grow. What if it were vehicles, buildings, other things? And we really wanted to go nuts with it. But what that did was create some real sound. So maybe the biggest is the whole car chase that took us through the city of San Francisco. And we wanted to do a chase that just simply wouldn't see in any other movie because of all the side shifts. So that was probably the biggest challenge.
What was the street closure situation like from beginning to end?
Well, it's something we thought about a lot because when we decided free range to do some of the craziest things imaginable in that city.
For you, Mr. Feige, and our group today, our collective effort always is to get Mr. Feige to say something he's not supposed to, which he never does. But we're gonna try, right?
Today's the day.
Yeah. Speaking of the quantum realm, we've been introduced to it, and now in 2 films, 3 with Doctor Strange. What is the future of the quantum realm? Are we going to see it in future films?
Well, I mean, yeah, without giving anything away, we love, these, they're all storytelling tools, new places, new things. In the first film, we got a glimpse of it, and for people who like to go through frame by frame, there was a little silhouette of Janet as the Wasp in there, which is a big story element in this movie. There are things that you see back there that Peyton has put in there. Where and how they pay off in the near term and the long term remains to be seen.
Magic, right? A magic non-answer. Yeah, definitely is. For you, Miss Lilly, I would love to hear a little bit about, I have to say that maybe since Wonder Woman, I get a little weepy anytime I'm watching them in Kick-Ass in a movie. So I'm just wondering kind of your favorite part of that wonderful sequence in the kitchen, or just kind of on the whole what you loved doing with Hope and the Wasp in this film.
Well, I loved getting to be a Blade Runner. That was pretty cool. The knife gag in the restaurant scene is very, very cool. I love the kind of element of having somebody who's completely in jeopardy but also completely in control as a superhero. That's kind of I saw that a lot, like when the mallet comes down to hit her. You can see like, oh shit moment, but then she's completely in control the next second. It was just fun to finally get to see her take on the mantle, because this is something that she's been ready and willing to do for basically her whole life. Her parents are both superheroes, and she was rearing to get in that suit for an entire film, and we never got there, and so to actually see her fighting in that moment was wonderful.
Is anyone more competent than others in explaining quantum theory and the quantum realm?
Michael's the guy.
If anyone is comfortable kind of explaining some of the quantum science that we play with in the film.
So, well, I actually Peyton asked me to this role because I did find out that I had a great quantum mechanics. Very familiar. I would have to read the script again. Really. Proper definition of the quantum realm. I know we get very, very small. Subatomic.
Well stated, well stated.
I actually can answer that question, because I really love quantum physics and always did before this happened, and that's one of the reasons I was excited about this brand, was I really dig quantum physics. And, you know, at one point we thought the atom was the be-all end-all, and everything ended with the atom. That was the smallest nucleus in the world, but actually we discovered that the atom is kinetic, and that atoms exist multiple places at the same time. And that was scientifically proven, and once you discover that, then you know that matter, kinetic and matter is displacing all the time. If it can be displaced, it can be warped. And so if you can, so if you can warp it, then you can warp size, you can warp matter. And also, can you warp time? Can you warp reality? Can you warp universes? Right?
What if the way you see blue is the way I see red?
Oh, dude!
I thought mine is
That's a good opening for my fellow journalists. You guys ready to ask some questions? Red.
Is there a mic?
Yeah.
Hi, this question is for Paul and Peyton. Paul, this is actually the third time you've played Ant-Man. So how did you and Peyton approach this, not only as the sequel to Ant-Man, but a sequel to Captain America: Civil War?
I'll start. Actually, that's a really good point you made as a sequel to both movies. And what was cool about Captain America: Civil War is we could not ignore what had happened to Scott Lang in that movie, in this movie. And it gave us an organic jumping off point, because my first reaction was, what would Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyne think about Scott taking the suit and getting involved with this in fighting with the Avengers? Well, they'd be pissed off. So it really gave us this whole starting point where it's like, well, what if they were estranged at the beginning of the movie as a result of this? You know, there are ramifications of this.
more freedom to, play into the humor. Would Scott do this? Would he make this? Would he say this kind of thing? Would he make this kind of choice? Whereas, I think the first time around, we were still modulating, and so that was one of the really fun parts about this. Was I feel like we kind of went into it with a let's try it. Let's go. People know who this guy is already.
On this side? Yeah.
Mr. Douglas, what did you think of yourself digitally done, and what era Michael Douglas do you think that is? Is that Gordon Gekko, Michael Douglas?
I look pretty good, didn't
Fantastic.
that was one of the nice parts. First of all, when we started this, I discovered that Michelle Pfeiffer was going to be my wife. Tremendous fan of hers, never had the chance to work with her. I was totally ecstatic. And then in reading the script to find out that Michelle Pfeiffer and I were going to be 30 years younger, it made it all that much better.
And kissing.
So it was a treat, and it remains to be seen where all of us go.
This side.
Well, on that, Paul, how was it channeling Michelle Pfeiffer?
I feel like I've been doing that for years. Every time we would refer to that, we kept calling it the all of me sequence. And we'd have many conversations about it early on. This is like a fairly big swing.
Yeah.
It was surreal, to say the least. And there are those moments, as an actor, you have to buy into the scenario, and you're playing the truth of the moment. But at the same time, as me being me and Michael being Michael, when I have my hand tenderly to his cheek and I'm staring in the eyes, we giggled a couple of times.
Was Ms. Pfeiffer on set that day when you were doing that?
Oh, I would never been able to do that.
Hannah, this is a role where, so your character, there's so many antagonists and villains in this role. I always ask the villains, every woman for herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow up to that one. It's apparent to me that, follow up to the question, it's apparent to me that
Every woman for herself.
Yeah.
yeah, follow up to that one. The Marvel villains, they seem to be less after Thanos. Is that this, or I'm just imagining?
What's the question, that they're less what?
After Thanos, the villains seem to be evolving. They seem to be lesser.
I think with the villains, I mean, what Marvel Universe do so well is not black and white. It's very grey, you know. And I think the villains are very redeemable because they're fun and you want to see them again.
By the way, hasn't there only been one villain after Thanos? It seems like all the villains
I have a 7-year-old son and he loves violent movies. And he likes to taunt me by telling me, Mom, I love violence. He knows I hate it. And he always, when he talks about good guys and bad guys in movies, I always feel a responsibility to clarify for him. I know that there really is no such thing as a bad guy, right? That they're only just good guys who have made so many bad choices, they've forgotten how to make good choices. And a true hero's job is to remind them of their goodness, not to annihilate them, to kill them, it's to help them redeem themselves. And I think that's applicable to life. Superhero stories are fun and they're a totally different world, but what I think is cool is that to have redeemable villains, you're teaching children that if you encounter somebody that might have a different opinion than you, that doesn't mean they're a villain. If they have a different objective than you, it doesn't mean you should attack them. Maybe you want to try to understand them first.
I'm just going to interject for a second, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
Was this the first Marvel role that came your way, and how come it's taken so long for us to see the Marvel movie?
It is not the first Marvel role to come my way. In fact, years and years ago, I ran into a guy named Tim Story, who directed the movie, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, and I said to him, I am Norrin Rad, and he said, who? I said, I am Norrin Rad, and Norrin Rad is the guy who becomes the Silver Surfer, works for Galactus and all that. So I voiced the Silver Surfer, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and then I've been a reader since I was 8, a fan my whole life, and really enjoyed the movies and everything that they've done with the MCU has been fantastic. What they've done is brilliantly brilliant. It was a guy I didn't know about. Although I was a Marvel reader and a DC reader, but mostly Marvel. I did not know about Bill Foster. I knew about Hank Pym because I think, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, Antman and Wasp became Avengers at some point.
Oh, yeah, they're right on the cover.
So that's why I knew about Hank Pym, and I knew about that particle and all that, but I never got to Foster because I was never an Ant-Man reader. So Peyton sat me down and was like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, really? And so they were kind enough to allow me to join the family, and I'm keeping a candy store now, just having a good time.
Who's that? Yeah. Right here.
I've got to congratulate all of you. The humor in this film is so family friendly. Little kids are gonna love the humor in this film. It sets it apart, distinguishes it from the other films in the MCU, I think. So kudos to you, Paul, as one of the writers, to you, Peyton. Really. I want to ask Peyton, on a technical level, editing in this film is so perfect. It is so rapier. Dan and Craig, what kind of tortures did you guys go through to establish pacing, but particularly with that third act, interlineating between car chase, quantum realm, car chase, quantum realm? I was on the edge of my seat that entire sequencing. It was so tight.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, first of all, we had two incredibly talented editors in Lebanon, Craig Wood. They're supremely talented. We worked with them before. And we knew that sequence, you know, we were going to be cross-cutting, as you said, between the chase and the quantum realm, and both inform the other one. And it's just a matter of like going through the whole process of how tight can we make it, shifting things around, and you always have a plan going in, and we were really meticulous in the way we planned it. But then you get in the editing room, you discover things, and it's a whole nother part of the process. And what if we put this here and did this, and having the build, so it's just constantly refining the thing, and it's and we wanted it to be as tight as possible. We always had this Antman philosophy on the first movie and on this one. I always wanted these movies to be under 2 hours. Firstly, because they're comedies, and secondly, because the first one's sort of a heist movie, and this is still sort of a crime / science fiction / Elmore Leonard novel-esque Marvel movie thing, and it needed to have a lot of forward momentum. And we looked at a lot of things, you know, from Bullet, Stephen Green movie, and of course, What's Up, Doc, the Bogdanovich movie, which has the most insane chase through San Francisco. These were big inspirations to the movie. But thank you for saying that, yeah, because it was, you know, trying to get everything to work and be as tight as possible was important.
Way in the right back.
My question is for, excuse me, Paul and for Evangeline. Again, I think the humor in this is fantastic as well. And I think what really grounds Antman and the Wasp is that he is a parent. And you don't get that. I mean, and he's a regular guy with regular people. You're not super soldiers or raging monsters and things like that. So how do you think that that's a difference? And how do you think that that comes across? And how do you draw from that?
Well, it's true, this theme of, you know, parents and children run throughout the film, fathers and daughters. And it's something that's relatable because whether or not we have children of our own, and people do, we all have parents. And the idea that I'm playing somebody that, like you said, doesn't have innate super abilities, is a way in. I want it to be relatable. I can relate to the character that way. Certainly when I'm thinking about it, we're talking about story and script and everything. That's the approach. I have a daughter roughly the age of Cassie in the film. She's a little bit younger. And while I know for a fact she's going to want me to build a slide after she sees the film, it's really hard to do in a New York apartment. I know what it's like to spend the evening playing with Barbie dolls, and I know, that's the glue, that's the soul of it. The love that a family shares and how we need each other. You know, parents need their kids need their parents. And if we could somehow build a very funny movie, one that appeals to all ages, that you're right, that families and kids could see, but that actually still has all of the elements that it fits in the Marvel universe, and all ages are going to be wowed by certain aspects of it. That idea that I can identify myself in that role was huge.
Let's go way in the back again.
I thought Wasp was fantastic, as I told you when we talked yesterday. We all want to see more of her. We've seen her interact with Scott Lang, who's kind of a knucklehead, sorry, Paul. And we may see her with other characters in the future, so I'm curious of all the personalities, both cast members and characters in the MCU. Is there anybody who you think Wasp would be a lot of fun to see interact with?
Well, first of all, I just want to qualify very lovable knucklehead. Gosh, I used to say, because I was asked this question prior to this movie, and I used to say it'd be fun to see the Hulk because she'd be so teeny and he'd be so giant, and then we did Giant and the Wasp, so that's out. I don't know, but I just personally have an enormous crush on Okoye and would love a chance to hang out with Denai as much as possible, so let's just say that. Besides the fact that I am personally going to continue to keep the rumor and gossip about an all-female Avengers film going until it happens. Sorry, Kevin.
How are we coming on that, Kevin?
Very well. All coming.
Michael Peña is not here, but we have to talk about Luis. Mr. Peña, how much fun was for you to kind of expand his role and for Paul and Evangeline the chance to play in his storytelling flashback something?
Well, I think it was important. I've never done a sequel before. And I think one of the things I like in sequels that I like is progressing the characters. So really, in looking at the characters of Luis and Kurt and Dave, the ex-con guys. In the first movie, they're ex-cons and they're really trying to stay out of a life of crime, and they discover what it feels like to be a hero. And this thing, it really felt like, let's start them from a place where they're on the straight and narrow now. They're trying to start a small business, and Scott's involved in that business, and he's almost out of house arrest. And are they going to make it go in this business? I like the idea that this movie could have huge stakes, huge personal stakes, but also the success of their business also has huge stakes, and particularly for Scott, I think that's the thing he's really wrestling with. And in terms of the Luis storytelling, that's always a fun thing to shoot. And what we do basically is we shoot Michael telling the whole story. I'll cut together, the preferred takes and do basically what we call a radio cut. And then, for example, if it's Paul or Evangeline's turn to do their lip syncing, we'll take that little section on set, play it over and over through crew speakers so they can hear it, and then just go at it multiple times until we get a performance in it and something that syncs. But that was really fun too. It was fun for me to do. I don't know how much fun it was for you guys to do.
I got asked earlier today, what was your favorite scene in the movie to shoot, and I said doing Lewis's montage.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, one more time, because he punches. He's such a funny actor.
Yeah.
Hi, this is for Kevin and perhaps Evangeline Peyton on chip in. Can you talk us through, bearing in mind what you said about the Avengers, can you talk us through the kind of decision not to make this Antman 2, but to make it the double-header, equal billing, Antman and Wasp, which is obviously the first titular superheroine, I think, in the MCU.
Yeah, that was the first idea of the movie before I think it was before Civil War. Clearly, that film, the first Antman film, essentially is all about how qualified Hope is, and her estrangement from her father was preventing her from doing these things. And it was without question, and that tag of what ended up being the tag on the first Antman film was in there from the beginning, which is her finding that suit and saying it's about damn time. So we always knew that the next one was going to be Ant-Man and Wasp, and that it would finally be time to see her suit up and be the hero, as she said earlier, she was born.
What, can you just say my name again?
Evangeline?
Oh, it sounds great with your accent. But I can add to that originally Wasp was going to be introduced in Captain America Civil War. That was the original plan. And I never expressed it at the time because, of course, how can you? But secretly, I was like, she's not going to get an origins film. Oh well, it's okay. I'm just stoked to be here, dude. I'm just happy that I get to put on a suit. And then when I got a call saying we've decided not to put you in Civil War, and there was this moment I could tell where the feeling in the room was I'm sorry. It's don't be offended. And I was like, no, are they going to say what I think they're going to say? And then they said what I thought they were going to say, which is because we really want to dedicate a film to introducing this female superhero. And we don't want her just to be a side note in this larger story. And that was so exciting for me. And then I still didn't know that there was going to be double billing. That that didn't come till later, and that was presented to me as a surprise via email with a screen cap of the title. And so that was really cool.
Getting close, I might have to call it a couple minutes. Yeah, you start. You. Yeah.
Thank you. So I love the objects that come big in this movie. The first one with Thomas the Train, and then this one with the Spencer and the Salt Shaker. For future Ant-Man and the Wasp stories, are there any objects that you would like to see become big at the big tree?
A spoon? This, by the way, was I think my favorite thing on the set that was grown. This bread clip is not arbitrary. In the lab, we had cables running through, and that's what I think used to put all of the cables together. You can kind of see it in the background, these big bread clips. What about? I can't think of anything that I'd like to see.
I'd like to be able to shrink and fly. I mean, I don't know about shrinking other things, but I'd like to. That would be cool. I can't think of an object either, though.
For the next.
Oh, you mean in the next movie, right? Yeah, I was thinking for real life.
We're officially out of ideas. We got that's it.
We're in
Got
trouble.
anything? What would you like to see?
Yeah, done.
I got a pen. I got a pen.
You should ask for a 10% cut. Back on the very back over there.
I'm just wondering if there's a chance, and I know there's limits on what you can and can't say, but I'm wondering if there's a chance that Anna and Lawrence will return as kind of a team up of sorts, if he could become Goliath again, if she gets more control of her powers, maybe like maybe the Red Queen and Mr. Big or something like that.
Nice.
I like it.
Well, what's always great is that's the mark of movie that works. I love characters when we see them again, and that's certainly Hannah and Lawrence, both of these characters. So they're both still alive.
He's like a purple ninja.
It's very frustrating. Real quick for Hannah, I was just wondering if you could kind of quickly take us through how they actually filmed the visual effects for how you were doing the quantum phasing. The actual finished product is so neat. I don't know how you actually filmed it.
The finished project is neat. When I watched it, I was like, oh, that looks really, really cool. There were no limitations for me actually filming. It was very freeing because it was like, no, just do the scene and do the stunts, and it can be stop for any effects. The visual effects came later. But yeah, it looks really good. I'm so happy.
That was really good. Where are we on this side or which side? I forgot.
I really love the fact that the Wasp is better at depth of pursuit than Antman. So that's really awesome. When you write it, Paul, whose idea was that? The Wasp is better at it than Scott's still learning.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Hope was born into the family business, and I think in the first one it was pretty clear she would be really good at this. It didn't seem to have any sort of anything really getting in the way of it, ability-wise, clearly. The idea that Scott was never really sure how he could be keep Antman and still be a good parent, if those two things can coexist. That's really what we wanted to hang this thing on, that kind of dilemma. So, one of the things that I like about it is that it really is a duo with a team, and we learn to, we work together, and we work together pretty well. But you're absolutely right. I think from the get-go, clearly, she's really good at this.
This side. Two more. I think we have time for two more. Who's gonna get? Yeah, it's 4 or 5 seconds.
Can you guys pass this down?
Yes, question for Peyton. Have there been any talks about you returning for a third film in the series? And if you do, will you be cutting Tom Sharpling from that?
I think we have time for one more. Yes, you, sir. The pink salmon shirt?
Hello, just to follow up on that, how about a prequel for the OG Antman?
Michael, would you like to take this one?
No.
Well, I love the glimpses that we see of Hank Pym in action in the glory days in both movies. It's exhilarating to me. And I also know how much Michael loves to put on a suit. Superhero suit is one of his favorite things. I love the idea. I mean, listen, that's probably a Kevin question, but I love the idea of that the Marvel Universe is set up in a way that potentially you can tell any of these stories at any time period. It was one of the thrills in the first movie to sort of have that scene with Hank Pym, to introduce Hank Pym into the MCU, and retroactively like place him back with Howard Stark and Peggy Carter and all that stuff. I love that because obviously in the comics he's one of the original super scientist heroes. So who knows what's next? Nobody knows.
How soon is that announcement coming, Kevin?
I'd love to work with everybody on this couch many, many times for many, many years to come.
So good. That's all we have time for, but thank you guys so much for your questions.
Thank you very much.